Beast of Bodmin Moor. In the small isolated village of Altarnan, nestled on the edge of Bodmin Moor, rumors of a terrifying creature had haunted the villagers for decades. The Beast of Bodmin Moor, as it was called, had been the subject of countless stories, whispered around campfires and late-night gatherings. Most of the villagers regarded the beast as nothing more than a myth, a cautionary tale to keep the children from venturing too far into the vast, desolate moor. One man, however, refused to accept that the beast was merely a legend. Kendrick, a reclusive amateur cryptozoologist, had dedicated his life to unraveling the mysteries of the unknown. The Beast of Bodmin Moor was his white whale, the one creature he couldn't explain away with reason and science. As dusk fell on a cold winter's evening, Thomas sat in the dimly lit corner of the village pub, his eyes scanning over the tattered notes and sketches that covered his table. He had been researching the beast for years, gathering every piece of information he could find, interviewing countless witnesses who claimed to have seen the creature. He had just finished speaking with an old shepherd who had come down from the moor with a harrowing tale. The man claimed that he had seen the beast with his own eyes, a massive, shadowy creature with glowing red eyes and huge, razor-sharp claws. The shepherd's flock had been decimated, torn apart in a frenzy of blood and carnage. Thomas knew that the time for research and speculation was over. He had to venture into the moor himself and find the truth behind the legend. His determination was fueled by the fear that gripped the village and the need to put an end to the terrible tales that held his community hostage. Armed with a flashlight, a backpack filled with supplies, and a sense of unease that he couldn't quite shake, Thomas set out into the dark, forbidding moor. The wind howled around him, sending tendrils of mist skimming over the desolate landscape. He could feel the weight of the moor's history pressing down on him, the countless tales of death and despair that had been whispered about this place. As Thomas trekked further into the heart of the moor, he couldn't help but feel that he was being watched. Every rustle of the wind through the grasses, every distant howl, sent shivers down his spine. He knew that he was getting closer to the truth, and the fear that had been building inside him was beginning to peak. Hours passed, and Thomas found himself standing before a small, decrepit stone cottage, half hidden by the overgrown vegetation. This was the place where the shepherd had seen the beast, where the carnage had taken place. Thomas's heart raced as he pushed open the creaking door and stepped into the darkness. The cottage was in ruins, abandoned for decades. A heavy layer of dust covered the rotting floorboards. The remnants of furniture lay in splintered heaps. The air was thick with the stench of decay. And as Thomas's eyes adjusted to the dim light, he saw the remains of the shepherd's flock. He forced himself to focus on his task, to find the truth that had eluded him for so long. He combed through the wreckage, searching for any evidence of the creature's existence. As he worked, the feeling of being watched grew stronger, more oppressive. The wind outside the cottage seemed to be whispering his name, beckoning him further into the darkness. Thomas had almost given up hope when he found it. A large, muddy paw print on the floor, too large to be that of any known animal. It was still damp, suggesting that the creature had been there recently. His heart pounded in his chest, excitement and terror warring for dominance within him. He knew that he was on the verge of a breakthrough, that he was closer to the truth than anyone had ever been before. With renewed determination, Thomas followed the trail of paw prints deeper into the moor, his flashlight casting eerie shadows across the desolate landscape. The wind howled around him, whispering its chilling secrets into his ear. He could sense the beast, its presence looming ever larger in his mind. As the night wore on, the moon rose, casting its cold, silvery light across the moor. Thomas pressed on, driven by his obsession, his need to prove the existence of the beast that had haunted his dreams. He was so close, he could feel it. Suddenly, Thomas stumbled upon a clearing, the heart of the moor, a place where the very air seemed to pulse with an ancient, terrible energy. And there, in the center of the clearing, he saw it. The Beast of Bodmin Moor stood before him, a creature more terrifying than he could have ever imagined. Its massive body was shrouded in darkness, its eyes glowing like burning embers. Its enormous, razor-sharp claws gleamed in the moonlight as it let out a guttural, blood-curdling roar. Thomas stood rooted to the spot, unable to move, unable to scream. He was transfixed by the sheer horror of the beast, and he knew, without a doubt, that this would be his last night on Earth. In the following days, a search party was dispatched from Altarnan to find Thomas Kendrick. They found him dead, his body torn apart, lying next to the large, muddy paw prints that marked the ground. The villagers whispered among themselves, their fears confirmed. The Beast of Bodmin Moor was no longer just a myth. It had been proven real by the very man who sought to expose it. And as the village mourned the loss of Thomas Kendrick, they knew that the beast would continue to haunt the moor, a terrible reminder of the darkness that lurked just beyond the edge of their world. The legend of the Beast of Bodmin Moor continued to grow, fueled by the gruesome discovery of Thomas's remains. The villagers spoke in hushed tones of the man who had dared to face the beast, who had paid the ultimate price in his pursuit of the truth. And as the years passed, the story of Thomas Kendrick and the Beast of Bodmin Moor became yet another chilling tale whispered around the campfires, a reminder of the terrible power of the unknown. When you subscribe, be sure to click the notification bell. Click here for more true scary stories.